Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, Greg here, founder of www.wrestling-divas.webs.com, your source for highlighting the most beautiful and deadly entertainers in the professional wrestling industry. Thanks to everyone for tuning in via blogtalkradio.com for another exclusive interview on behalf of my website. I have a very special guest joining me here right now. She was trained by WWE Hall of Famer, the legendary Johnny Rodz. She made her debut in 2009. She has competed internationally in the U.S. and Puerto Rico. She is a current reigning SWO Women's Champion and also holds a degree in Psychology and Sociology from Hunter College. So I would like to welcome my next special guest, the Psycho Siren, Aida Marie. Hi, Aida. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and I hope you like that intro.
That was awesome. I definitely appreciate it. Although I'm also the NEWF Scorn Champion. Won that back in September when I beat...
Oh, well, congratulations on your victory.
Oh, thank you. I beat everybody's favorite, bright sensation, Gabby Gilbert, formerly known as Roxy Cotton, for that. So it was definitely a tough task.
Well, getting to things, you were trained by WWE Hall of Famer Johnny Rodz, and for those who don't know, he is responsible for training many past and present WWE, TNA, and ECW stars such as Team 3D, Matt Stryker, Vito, Elektra, etc., etc. I could go on and on. So getting training from him and seeing how he's so seasoned and experienced, what was that experience like for you, and what was the biggest piece of advice that he gave you that you took away?
Well, it was I got taught the basics. I got taught the fundamentals, what to expect, when I go out and start doing shows. It was definitely a tough road. It was a lot tougher than I originally expected, even though I wasn't sure what to expect. I mean, you never are when you start training to become a professional wrestler because it's so different than just watching it at home. But I would definitely say the best piece of advice I was given was just to continue working hard and to continue perfecting my craft because you never stop learning in this industry. So I would definitely say I walked away with that.
So one of the hardest things that everybody goes through in the business is the realization that making it to a big company like the WWE or TNA wrestling is very, very slim. And it's sometimes not based on talent. It's based on the look, too. So coming to terms with that, what are your goals in wrestling? I mean, I'm sure you must realize that making it to a company like that is very small.
I do realize that fact. I mean, it's still my ultimate goal, but I also want to travel as much as I possibly can and just enjoy to do what I love as long as I possibly can until life takes me in a different direction.
So you said you wanted to travel as long as possible and to many different areas, and you spent some time overseas in Puerto Rico. What was that experience like? Because through my research in wrestling, I've realized that styles in wrestling differ in different areas in the world, and the fan atmosphere is a little bit different. But what was that experience like for you?
It was a dream come true. I have family in Puerto Rico, so, I got to perform, in front of my grandpa, in front of, my uncle and my aunt, and it was an incredible experience. It's really fast-paced over there, and the crowds are insane. They're completely insane in an awesome way, and it really blew my mind. I went out there, and I just heard roar of the crowd. I'm just like, oh, my God, this is wild, and it's definitely fast-paced, and you got to just keep going and going and going and going. There's no stopping there.
So you just stated that making it to the WWE or a big company like that is an ultimate goal of yours. But lately, companies such as those have been given a lot of criticism from fans and wrestlers alike about especially their female division being too much about having the right look and not having the right amount of talent. You know, models being hired to fill in these spots and being trained when they haven't paid their dues beforehand. So what is your opinion to that criticism? Do you agree with those fans, or do you have mixed reactions, or what do you think about what the WWE is promoting out there?
I feel as though, you know, a big company like the WWE has to, in a way, go a certain route to appeal to as many people as possible. So they have all sorts of different looks, and they have all sorts of different criteria, and it's, you know, that's the kind of place that you go to when it's an all-around thing. I mean, yes, there are models who have gotten, you know, jobs there, and it's difficult to really, you know, have a full-on opinion on that, because, you know, they might have started out that way, but in time they trained. They trained, obviously, because they wouldn't be able to perform on TV if they didn't. So it's a mixed bag of emotions, but I would say that the WWE is like one of the longest standing companies for a reason, and they're at the top for a reason, and that's where I want to end up.
So as an indie worker, one of the things that's different than performing on television is that many of your matches that you may perform out there isn't recorded. I mean, some of them are and uploaded to, say, YouTube, but some of them aren't. So there's a big sense of the now and the live aspect of wrestling. So for those who are watching you out in the crowd, how do you make the most of that live aspect in making sure that they take away something from your match?
I always involve the crowd in some aspect. Like, you know, I always try to make them feel as if they're as much a part of the show, because they are. You know, it's their ticket admission prices that help the company out, that help us out. And it's always good to involve them as much as you possibly can, whether it's yelling at them, you know, reaching out to them. Interacting is a huge thing. I love interacting with fans. So I always try to give them as much as they can, you know, as much as they can take away from these shows, because they pay their hard-earned money to see it, and they deserve that. They deserve that recognition for being such a big part of what we do.
So one of the hardest things to do in this industry is be unique, and that's coming from many other people that I've interviewed, because with the moves that you do and what you say, it may very well derive from another competitor that you don't even know about, and you need to make sure that the moves that you do don't come off as a direct imitation of other people's signature moves. So how do you be unique in this business? And that's meant in a general sense and for you personally.
Well, I always try to incorporate my personality into everything I do. And I let the people know that, you know, no matter the move that I do, I always incorporate that little bit of craziness that I have inside of me. So they don't see it as, oh, she's just doing this person's move or this person's move, or if she saw this like years and years and years ago. It's like, oh my God, this crazy girl. You know, that sort of thing.
Speaking of crazy. You have a very unique personality for your wrestling character, the Psycho Siren. So, what was your inspiration for that character and that nickname, for that matter?
Well, I would definitely say that the psycho part was just a culmination of years and years and years of just being plain called crazy. And embracing that unique side of me and generating it into something positive. And as far as the siren goes, the siren is an alluring creature that she brings in wayward sailors with her song before she causes them to crash into the rocks. So I thought that fit pretty well.
So, living the life of a professional wrestler, I mean, it's not easy. And this is something that a lot of fans and even I don't understand, because I'm not involved with the industry as a competitor of any sort or a manager. It can be sometimes very frustrating to live this life because indie workers don't get paid a huge amount, and they have to travel a lot, and they have to, try to stay grounded when their spots are, again, taken up by models who don't have any experience. So how do you stay grounded when, there are all these factors that are, challenging and maybe going against you?
It's definitely something that you have to experience to understand. I basically work shows every weekend, so I'm always traveling, and it's tough at times, like, being away from my family, and, sometimes you miss out on certain things that you wish that you didn't, but what keeps me grounded and what keeps me level mentally is the fact that I know that I'm doing this because I love it. And if it wasn't something I love, I wouldn't be able to do this. And I'm living the dream that I've always wanted to ever since I was a little girl. So me knowing that I'm able to do that makes it worth it. And, traveling a lot, you grow very fond of your iPod or your Zune or whatever kind of music player you have. It definitely helps. So does reading a lot, writing. I write all the time, especially while traveling. And also text messaging friends helps out a lot too. So just, knowing it's for, knowing it's for something you love, knowing it's for a grander purpose, and knowing that you're doing this while you can instead of waiting and waiting and waiting until you can't anymore is something that keeps me going.
So, obviously, traveling is very time-consuming, and like you said, you're not always there for things that you want to be. You're away from a dog or a cat or a family member or a birthday, wedding, etc. With that in mind, and traveling with, the injuries that wrestlers may suffer during their matches and things of that nature, is wrestling something for everyone? I mean, can anyone become a professional wrestler given the right trainer, in your opinion?
No, not at all. You can learn the physical aspects of it given the right training, but it takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of mental strength. It takes a lot of emotional strength because you go through a lot of insane things that you never would think that you would, and you're faced with a lot of trials and tribulations that mess with your head. So you have to truly be dedicated to it in order to go through with the whole process, because anybody could train and anybody can, like go to, you know, a show that's not too far away from where they live or something and work that show. But, you know, in order to deal with the traveling, with the actual time away, with everything like that, you have to truly, truly, truly love it and dedicate your mind, body, and spirit.
So the training process, I'm sure that you must have expected some things, but like you said earlier in the interview, they were changed in some ways when you actually went through with it. So what, in your opinion, what was the most difficult aspect of the training process, and why did you find it most difficult?
The most difficult aspect was definitely trusting myself to be able to do all of these things. And I know it sounds weird, but it's like the first few things you learn how to do are to roll, run the ropes, and bump. And it's like you're training your body to do something you don't think is a natural thing you should do. You don't think that you should fall flat. You always protect yourself by, like, falling on your bottom and just trusting yourself to go and to do it. It's definitely an interesting process, and it took a little bit for me to get the hang of it. And once I did that, and once I went through a whole, you know, deal where I went through, like, practice matches and stuff, then I was like, you know what, I feel like I can physically do this. And even though I'm feeling an immense amount of pain, because you always feel an immense amount of pain the next day, to find yourself wanting to do it again and to learn more and to keep on going, that's when you know that it's like, all right, I'm ready to do this, let's do it.
So if you don't mind, we actually do have a caller on the line, and I'm assuming that this person wants to ask you some form of a question. So if you don't mind taking an impromptu call, I'm all for it.
Okay. I'm ready for a question.
Okay. Area code 631, last four digits 4317. You are now live on the air with... Oh, the person hung up. Never mind. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That happens sometimes. Okay, going on. So, putting the trust in your body, I mean, one of the aspects that fans may not understand is that you may be working with someone who you don't know entirely, both personally speaking and professionally speaking, when you're wrestling in a match. And sometimes you don't have control over, I want to wrestle this person instead. So is it sometimes difficult to put trust in a stranger like that, even though, you know he or she is a worker?
To a certain degree, I mean, this is all about trust. Like, wrestling is all about trust. So you have to have that certain level of trust, and that person must have a certain level of trust with you to, you know, get in the ring with you and stuff. And I would say that, you know, you owe, like, especially when you're traveling a lot and you're being introduced to new places, you always end up most of the time you end up working somebody that you don't know and aren't exactly familiar with, but, you know, you have to have that certain level of trust. And if you do and it pays off, then it's fantastic. You know, not every match is going to be a great one, unfortunately. But there's always a trust level that you start off with, and you either build from it and keep going, or you build it in a different way, and it's like, all right, so I know I can do this and I can't do this, or something like that.
So, wrestling is always tough because the injuries add up and the wear and tear is on your body. And a lot of people think, for example, that Hulk Hogan shouldn't be wrestling anymore, and he does still occasionally because of all the injuries that he has. So I've always heard that there's a difference between being brave and being stupid when you're trying to compete in that ring. And, you may very well have to compete with an injury, but, when is enough for, all the injuries that you suffer and how many years you've been in the business? I mean, when should you hang up your boots?
I suppose, every person has that internal clock, but it's mainly when you get to the point where you can't protect yourself and you can't protect the person you're in the ring with, and you become hindrance is a harsh word, but it's a necessary one. Like, when you become dangerous to the point where it's just not healthy for anybody involved anymore, then that's when I feel that you should be done. Like, yes, Hulk Hogan has had numerous surgeries over the years, and so have wrestlers like The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and Triple H. But, like, if they can work around it and still be safe in the ring, then I don't necessarily think that their time is up when everybody says it's up. It's when you realize that you're a danger to people you're in the ring with.
So when your career has run its course, and you decide to move on to other things in your life, what do you want to be remembered for the most by the fans? When they see that final performance, inside that ring by you, what do you want them to take away from everything that you've done?
I want them to see me as a person who always gave their heart to everything, who didn't let, physical obstacles or mental obstacles or any sort of blockade get in the way of doing what means the world to me. And I want them to see me as one of them at the same time. Like, I grew up loving wrestling. I grew up watching it like crazy. I was a crazy 9-year-old girl with all my presents and my cake and my party hat and the balloons having Sting all over them. And I want them to know that. I want them to know that, even though people may think that you can't do something, if it's in your heart and if that passion is burning, that you can do it. And I want them to see that through me, because I'm going to, be straightforward. I'm like 5'1", maybe. I'm not 100 pounds. That gimmick weight is not a joke. I'm not 100 pounds. But I bust my butt. I work hard. And I'm the kind of person who doesn't let any negativity get to me and stop me from doing what means the world to me, what has made me, in a way, the kind of person that I am, that has brought me down from the pits of depression to being this happy-go-lucky person that you see. And when my time is up, I want them to see that that love is always there and that drive will always be there. and that, they can do it too. Like, they shouldn't let bullying stop them. They shouldn't let mental ailments stop them. They shouldn't let people stop them, because it's about heart. And that's what brought me to do this. That's what keeps me doing it, and that's what will keep me doing it until life takes a different course.
So before we get to how fans can contact you, and I'm kind of scared to ask this next question, but also really excited. You cut a promo hyping a match against Mia Yip, and you were in character, and it was really good but really scary. So if for a minute or so, can the psycho siren Aida Marie tell me why she's the best professional wrestler in the whole entire world?
Oh, man, that's funny. All right. You kind of put me on the spot here, and it's not a good idea to exactly put me on the spot, because once I enter that realm where I switch from innocent little Ida to Aida Marie, there's no turning back. And the fans don't realize what other wrestlers don't realize is that I'm not lying when I say that I'm crazy. I'm not lying when I say that there's a couple of screws inside my noggin. What I'm always serious about is the fact that I am a tough competitor, and that I always give my best in the ring, and that every time you see me, I get just a little bit better. And there will be a time where everyone will recognize me as the greatest. And once it happens, everyone else better just stop, because I won't let go of that title.
Okay, I'm kind of scared to go to sleep tonight, but with just under 3 minutes left, how can fans contact you and keep up to date with all your events?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/AidaMarieX89. You can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/AidaMarieX89. There's also my Facebook fan page, which one of my bestest friends in the whole entire universe started up, that you can look me up on Facebook as the Psycho Siren, Aida Marie. There's also my website that I'm working on getting the gallery going, but we'll get updated. But it's official AidaMarie.webs.com, and there's also I also have a FormSpring account that you can ask me questions on, and I think that's all the way.
Well, thank you very much, Aida, for your time. I really enjoyed this interview, and good luck to you in all your endeavors.
Thank you. I appreciate you interviewing me. It's really cool of you.
Well, thanks to everyone else for tuning in to this interview. Be sure to check out www.wrestling-divas.webs.com, and that's Divas with a Z, for more updates and interviews. 2012 is a big year. And be sure to follow the website on Twitter at twitter.com/wrestlingdivas. So thank you again, everyone else, and be sure to check out the website soon.